Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to episode 107 of the Lumbar Trucking Show. Very glad to be here. Wanted to start off, number one, thanking everybody for tuning in to that last episode. It was a great story. Was really looking forward to getting my boy Interstate Avocado back on. Crazy story. As you can see, it was candid. It was real. We had a quick discussion beforehand, but there were a lot of times where I was just absolutely floored at the story and what he experienced going on with Igor there out of Venice, Florida, who clearly still has links to the Chicago area, given the story with the logs. Once again, if you haven't tuned in, definitely go back and listen. And if you're somebody who can help out with maybe trying to get this guy shut down, definitely feel free to reach out to Interstate Avocado. Once again, with how these criminals operate, it's like cutting the head off the snake. Once you chop the head off the snake, just more worms come spiraling out. So these criminals they always have a backup to a backup, or at the end of the day, when their time does run out, they could just up and run and they'll go back to whatever, Eastern European country they may come from. And nobody cares, because nobody will care, because unlike, other crimes that the FBI or whoever would necessarily enforce, clearly we see freight fraud and indentured servitude isn't high on the list. So they'll let these guys scurry away back to Russia, and they won't care, because the FMCSA is an incompetent organization made up of unelected lawyers and bureaucrats who essentially have no idea what they're doing. And then when it comes to enforcement, the only thing the Department of Transportation they're going to enforce are just easy infractions like tickets and weight violations and other nonsense like that. But enough, the fight goes on against the crime syndicates out there. We'll keep fighting the good fight against them. And hey, at the end of the day here, last I can remember, we've been dumping money, into a war against Russia. So how about we get that attitude a little, more into it? I understand that everybody's a little bit divided on that money, but hey, we're clearly at some sort of proxy war against Russia. I've said it before on this show, and I've said it on Twitter. Russia's always been the bad guy. When will people ever get that through their heads that even going back to 1812, once again, Russia has never been the good guy throughout history. They've always had a poverty army. They've always been a poverty country, not the Russian people, but the country itself. And some of that trickles down, and clearly some of those people come over here and want to take advantage of what's going on. So let's get back to realizing that Russia is the bad guy. But anyways, moving on from that, that's not why we're here today. Number one, definitely wanted to start out with a little light humor, especially from this morning on Twitter. Prime Incorporated, another absolute shitbag company that I've railed against a lot on this show, had a Facebook post earlier, and a gentleman, Jamie, had posted this on Twitter, and Prime posted that introducing our latest expansion at Prime. We're thrilled to announce the launch of our brand new hopper division starting this year. Join us tomorrow at 9 a.m. Central Time live on YouTube for our live event. Man, I'm going to be really discouraged if more people tuned into that live than who tuned into this show. No, I can't complain. Prime is a megalith that obviously has a big reach and has gaslit a lot of people into thinking that they're awesome and everybody else is the problem. But yeah, they're in the hopper division now, and I had quote tweeted it saying, great, now rates are going to plummet in this sector of the industry. And good friend of the show used to drive for a trucking company out of South Dakota. He used to run hopper bottom, and he did actually really well for a good amount of time. But his market kind of got turned upside down last year. He's since moved on from trucking and has found himself within another industry. And so I guess maybe the writing was on the wall with this stuff, but I just want to give a quick shout out to some of the responses on here. Texas Trucker at Large: the megas have driven rates to the floor in every other capacity. Why not hopper and belly dump next? The Ohio Trucker: they just love wrecking stuff. My thoughts yesterday when I saw that they were doing this. We've got my boy Mac Lovin, Jamie Hagan. My first thought as well, but having pulled a grain wagon once upon a time, I think they'll realize the rates are already low. Mr. Grinch here, Dave Newell: once the farmers and grain mills see their loads not being delivered on time, drivers getting stuck in the mud and not showing up, they'll drop them fast. The ag industry doesn't mess around with this bullshit. Midwest Chemical Hauler: a whole new meeting to poverty wagon. On somebody else: I'd wager they fold inside a year. A lot of the hopper business is one-on-one, not amendable to Prime's business model. So just goes to see there. Feel free to chime in the comments what you think about Prime entering the Hopper bottom division. Once again, I just think this is just, I'm not sure what it is. The only mega carrier on my end that I see who does well with their expansion in different parts of freight happens to be JB Hunt. I know that some years ago, and somebody told me this in the comments, but JB Hunt is into log hauling. They clearly have a big hold on intermodal. JB Hunt seems to be can get involved in other niches in freight and be able to accomplish it well, at least from a market perspective, I guess. I don't know the exact turnover of maybe some of their drivers or whatnot, but it seems like JB Hunt's the only big company that operates outside their niche. Like I used to drive for Pam. I can't see Pam Transport getting into flatbed, or I can't see Pam Transport getting into even crawling into reefer, because what they do and who their customers are is so strong that if they tried to get new customers with how their turnover already is, I think it'd be hard to break in that market. But a conversation for a different day. Just wanted to bring that up. The reason why I'm here, it is a new year. Happy New Year to everybody, especially to all the live viewers out there tuning in. I wanted to come on here and talk about how you can become the best absolute brick shit house version of yourself. You know, the new year, new me thing has been memed out of existence. It's almost a negative outlook. And me personally, I've said this before. I say it at my Orange Theory classes. I say it multiple times, is that you don't need to wait for New Year's Day. I made a specific TikTok video about this. I made it actually back in May. I went to go review this, and I thought about reposting it because essentially around May, June is when people, that's when you think back about the first of the year. When I first started, what you had all these plans, you had these goals. Then by May and June, you got so caught up and ran away from it. Those even went out the window, and you're like, man, I wish I stuck with it. Imagine if I did. And I'm here to just offer a little bit of guidance and maybe some tools and some motivation on how we can shift that and change that narrative. Number one, if you're somebody who wants to make a change and you're telling your friends and family that, and they're like, oh, yeah, see you January 2nd, or yeah, you want to do all this. Number one, stop hanging out with those fucking people, or stop talking to them, or don't even bother telling them that you want to do this stuff. It's always a lot of times the people closest to you who will talk you out of wanting to do these things and wanting to commit, because that's their own negative projections of themselves, because they don't have the discipline or the audacity or the bravery or the gumption to go out there and make a change in their lives, and something that they're probably lacking on. So don't even bother with it. You could stay silent about it. And in fact, it'll keep you more motivated the more silent you do, because then you operate with more of a chip on your shoulder. So don't even bother trying to bring it out there, because I remember this, and I was a victim of this, because when it comes to going to the gym or working out or changing your habits, sometimes we want to find a teammate, an accountability buddy, so to speak, another good term to use. We kind of want that. We're looking for that affirmation maybe from outside to give us that drive and motivation that'll help us. And then more times than not, it'll never really come. And it's sad, but that's just the truth. That's the nature of where we live now. And that's the opinions we have on health and wellness in this country. Before I get started, I'll get into it. Some people in Europe, they don't really suffer from, this problem. In Japan, they don't really suffer from these issues of as much chronic illness and disease. And they don't, have to their lifestyles are different. So we don't see this problem in other countries, because these people have done the one simple thing, and walking is the biggest incorporation of their life. And I'm going to get into that, because walking is exactly how you can drive your way to victory. And unfortunately, in this country, we are addicted to cars and car culture. That's what we have. They're the cards that we're dealt. We can have our opinions about cars and public transportation and trains. We can have that conversation another time. As I've said previously, right around Christmas time, controlling what we control. We have to play the ball where it lies. We can't just snap our fingers and all of a sudden maybe we become that public transportation commuter type city where we can walk and bike everywhere. It's not going to happen. We have to play the ball where it lies. We have to play with the cards we're dealt and just move forward from there. So first and foremost, I want to talk about some tools and some challenges that are coming up that you can participate in that will help you build healthy habits along the way to stay on par, stay on track, and accomplish anything. It's not about making any extreme decisions. It's not about restrictions. It's not about crazy fad diets. All that stuff is doomed to fail, and it's all a gimmick to get you to buy into everything going on. something I've learned since I've gotten more and more involved in the fitness industry is it's just as convoluted with grifters as trucking. Trucking has the same YouTube get rich quick, how I lost 100 pounds in 6 days, all this crap that's out there. And when it comes to personal training, a lot of it is sort of unregulated. So you have these coaches and course sellers and stuff out there that are going to preach to you to buy their shit. So, yep, you see the little lip tuck. I got that. I got that Zyn on me. If you want to win, Zyn, baby. Anyways, moving on. So first and foremost, the first challenge that you can enter and the first tool that you can use that can help you if you would like to make a change. I've mentioned it before. I talk about on this app a lot. It is the First Form Health and Wellness app. Now, just to say this right up front, I'm not selling anything. It doesn't matter. I literally pay to use it myself. It's an app just like MyFitnessPal. It's $12.99 a month. Here's what that app does. It provides you the tools, a roadmap of what you can use to stay on track and build healthy, sustainable habits. Now, if you sign up for this app using my link, and I know this sounds sort of gimmicky off the rip, but if you use my link, here's what you do get. You can work with me directly one-on-one as an advisor. Through the past couple of weeks, I used to post regular messages. I don't want to make excuses, but I've kind of reeled back because I've been focusing on this content, focusing on a lot of stuff with the newsletter upcoming. I have been coaching a lot. I'm on the phones a lot, so I haven't been posting. But with the challenge coming up, I will be regularly on there. You have one-on-one access to me. I can see exactly what you're doing. I post some videos. The app itself has a plethora of tools. They have live streams every single day, and I'm going to kind of bring up the videos. So this is all information that you are privy to that you're not going to get from their social media pages. Live streams, nutrition, where do I start? This is a video. How to get yourself to do the work. Alcohol in your fitness journey. Getting ready for the new year. They have live streams every day, Monday through Friday, of a wealth of information from nutritionists, dietitians, personal trainers, etc., all who work at First Form. So that's number one. Number two, it provides you every single tool you need to track what you need to do. At the end of the day, of all the fad diets out there, of everything going on, the only realistic thing that has worked for me and that will work for the majority of people in the long run is to track your macronutrients, period. Everything else is virtually unsustainable, especially if you're a driver, especially if you're somebody who works a sedentary job, whether you're a broker, dispatcher, whatever it is you're doing. The thing is with the fad diets, it's not that they don't work. Trust me, if you do go keto and you can live on keto for 6 months, you will lose the weight. But are you realistically going to just never eat pizza again? Are you realistically never going to have ice cream again? Do you want to live in that world? No, most people don't. It's unrealistic and unfathomable. Same thing with cutting out meat. If you're just like, number one, the plant-based industry is another grift. I was talking about this on Twitter. To think, number one, meat isn't unhealthy. So stop listening to people who are telling you that. It's not your fault that the agriculture industry is possibly having an impact on climate change. Stop listening to that marketing. Once again, that marketing is gaslighting marketing. They're trying to convince you that you're bad because of just what you eat. In what world do we live in? Is that where we're at as a society? We're going to say you're bad because you drink milk and eat meat. So ignore that stuff. So cutting out meat, still not good because you're not giving yourself certain branch chain amino acids you need. Going fully paleo, any of these certain Whole30, all this stuff where it does technically work, you'll lose the weight. It becomes unsustainable. It's about we're not just talking about 6 months. We're talking about your life, the rest of your life, building habits that you can stick with over a long period of time. So what this app does, it allows you to, just like MyFitnessPal, if you've heard of it, it allows you to track your nutrition. I'll kind of show it on the screen if you're live listening. This is kind of what I've tracked here. This kind of shows you how many calories I ate yesterday, how many grams of protein, carbs, and fats. The two most important thing are your calories and protein. Carbs, another thing that people have villainized. Carbohydrates don't matter. It's an irrelevant thing. Carbohydrates can turn to fat and are bad for you if you're eating more calorie dense foods and you're not moving your body. Yes, that's when they become necessarily bad. But the key is you need to be eating 1 gram of protein per pound of your goal body weight in order to retain and sustain your lean muscle. When you do that, you will sleep better. You will have less brain fog, more cognitive function. Your recovery is better, risk of injury, everything. Also, if you're somebody who does want to, quote unquote, build muscle and burn fat, you can do that, but you have to be consistently hitting that protein goal while also being in a slight caloric deficit. It takes longer over periods of time, which is better to, if you want to lose weight, you can dial it back. You want to cut the calories first so that way you can chop off the excess weight. Then you can start tacking on more muscle. You're not going to lose that much muscle as long as you're still strength training and running. But more about the app. It allows you, it has a barcode scanner. You can also manually input those macros. So if something doesn't scan, you can put in the serving size, the amount of calories, protein, carbs, and fats are in it. So you can do all of that. So if the food doesn't read, what this requires on your end. So I lived and breathed this for years over the road as a truck driver. Using this tool, it is possible. You have to be determined to do it. You have to stick with it. That means taking your 30-minute break to grocery shop at Walmart. That means buying an air fryer, a food scale, having a microwave, and a fridge in your truck. You have to do it, period. This is if you're a driver. You have to do it. If you're not, if you're a broker, sedentary job, you have to maybe meal prep a little bit. I meal prepped yesterday. I know, so on Wednesday specifically, I have a gap between the noon class at one gym and then I have to go to another in the afternoon. I don't have time to go home. I bring that lunch with me. So I cooked chicken thighs the night before and added it to a certain salad. You have to get into these habits. Start small, though. That's the thing. Don't try to just do it for 7 days a week. Aim for 3 days a week. Hit those goals 3 days a week. Build on it from there. So other things you have in this app, once again, you can talk to me directly on it. I can see everything you're tracking and kind of gauge where you need to be from there. Now, with this app, the reason why I'm talking about it right now specifically is how here's a little bit of an incentive, is that there is a chance at a cash prize. They have an 8-week transformation challenge that will start Monday, January 8th. The cutoff is midnight Central Time on Monday. All you need to do to enter, download the First Form app. You put in what you want to do. It'll calculate your macros for you. You can either pair up with me as an advisor. You can pair up with somebody else who works at First Form HQ, whichever. It's up to you. If you don't want to work with me, that's perfectly fine. I work with an advisor on there too who works up at First Form. Great guy. Helps me out whenever I have questions about certain nutrition or anything like that. It's an 8-week challenge. If you can commit to 8 weeks, it's literally just 8 weeks. It'll take you right to the beginning of March. Think that's a very, very short amount of time. If you can meet me or meet yourself halfway over the course of 8 weeks and stick to building these habits of just your goals of hitting your calories and protein, getting your water, getting your steps, and not drinking your calories and maybe reducing some of the alcohol you intake, you will find success. At the end of the day, they do have several. There are up to, I believe, 4 winners who can win $25,000. One of those winners is somebody who's gone through the challenge multiple times and has had a bigger transformation, but they have a lifestyle change winner. They have a total transformation winner. So you can win $25,000 in 8 weeks. And I can almost guarantee you, if you do stick to tracking your macros, cut out alcohol, and you get 10,000 steps in a day, or get 10 to 15,000, or you're able to do 1 to 2 30 to 45 minute exercises or workouts a day, you can probably win that $25,000. Once again, this is something it even adds as a little notebook. You can put your goals in here, daily tasks. So track macros, drink 120 ounces, sleep 7 hours, 10K steps, hit my protein goal. This goes along with journaling. So the app can help you journal. If you write stuff down, you check it off as you go. There's something in your brain that's going to wire to turn you on that's going to release some dopamine, that sense of accomplishment, doing something. So as you think about it, as you want to get in the new year, if you want to make a transformation, this tool is exactly what I use as an over-the-road truck driver, training and running in 5 marathons. Once again, I do not say that as a brag. I do not say that that's what you have to do, but you can do it. You can do it. You have the time. What excuse I don't like hearing, especially from drivers, is I don't have the time. First and foremost, I ran dry van and I also ran oversized and flatbed. So I've seen a couple different sides of the industry. At shippers and receivers, we talk about wait times and detention a lot. Guess what? We have to play the ball where it lies. Overtime for Truckers Act isn't getting passed. We're not fixing these wait times. Nothing's changing. Play the ball where it lies. So what are you going to do for those 3 hours? You should be getting out of your truck. And you can, if you can't walk around the lot, walk the length of the truck back and forth, or just walk in circles. Get an Apple Watch, whatever, track your steps on your phone, set a timer, walk for 45 minutes. If you're going to be there for 3 hours, you might as well get yours. I did this many times. Up in Minnesota, waiting at a shipper receiver, I've whipped out the kettlebell and the jump rope. You just do it. 20 degrees, you just do it. And I'm going to get into the comfortable part in a little bit, the comfort crisis that we live in. You have times. Even if you have a 10-hour break, and I live by this, if you have to take just a 10, as soon as you pull that yellow tab, go time. Get out of the chair. It's very hard. I know. It's difficult. Your mind's wiped. You had to avoid four-wheelers all day. I know. But how do you think you get stronger? How do you think you get better? Pull that yellow tab. Either drive with your running shoes on, drive in the outfit you're going to work in. I did this when I first started driving. I would say, you know what? If it's a travel day where I know I wasn't getting the shipper or the receiver and I needed pants, boots, whatever, you wear the clothes. As soon as you pull that yellow tab, just get out and go. Put yourself off duty, sleeper berth, whatever. Get out, 45 minutes, walk, cook dinner. Could take you 20, 30 minutes. Go inside, take a shower, you go back to bed, you still get 8 hours of sleep. Use your time management. Trust me, a lot of these drivers got a lot of time to comment on TikTok videos. They got a lot of time to comment on YouTube, Twitter, whatever. You got time for that? You could be walking and doing that. You could be anything. You could be doing crunches and doing that. You could set your phone out, watch YouTube while you jump rope. No excuse. The time is available. Trust me, because I've been there and I know it. You're a flatbedder, you got a free benefit. You got an Apple Watch. I used to do this all the time when I had to chain down ACs, 100 degrees in Laredo. I've started my timer, put on a other as a workout. I burned 650 calories just chaining down those AC units. Set it. Track your calories. See what you're doing. It gives you a sense of accomplishment. Next transformation challenge I want to talk about, and I'm sporting it. I'm wearing the OrangeTheory, the coach's shirt. I got to give it a shout out because this is also something that will hold you accountable. Now, I understand drivers, this is difficult. This is catered to anybody who works a sedentary job, brokers, whichever. I'm going to give the plug to OrangeTheory. They're my main squeeze. If you are looking for a gym to join, it's very difficult to just go to the gym and do your own workout for 45 minutes. Trust me, it's tough to find that drive to think of a new workout. It's another thing. You just had spent your whole day making phone calls, whatever, if you're a broker. It's very difficult to just go in and then think of a good quality workout you're going to get. OrangeTheory's got a transformation challenge starting January 22nd. This is nationwide, everywhere. And right now they have a great promo. You can join in January. You get your first month unlimited for $24. From there, depending on your studio, the prices vary depending on what tier membership you do want. But I know if you join now, you do get the first month unlimited for $24. That is virtually everywhere nationwide. They have a transformation challenge starting. Essentially, you have to commit to at least 3 workouts a week. You could choose between gaining muscle or losing body fat. There's information at these studios on the prescription of which workouts you should go to. There's also an incentive for a cash prize. Depending on the area you live in the country, studios do give out prizes, cash prizes. You will work with one of the coaches at OrangeTheory who will be in contact with you to hold you accountable. OrangeTheory is a group fitness gym as well. You can walk the hardest part is walking through that door. Once you're there, the workout's already planned for you. All you got to do is pick up your feet, move one in front of the other on the treadmill, row on the rower, and go pump some iron with some dumbbells. It's already set. Once you show up, consider the workout done because you're going to do it anyways. I highly recommend it, depending on what you're doing fitness-wise. Maybe you have a gym membership. Maybe you go to Planet Fitness. Maybe you haven't been going. That's how Planet Fitness business model works. It's $10 a month for a reason. You're paying $10 because you don't see it come out of your account every month, and you're not even going. They're making money on you hand over fist. So, hey, that's why OrangeTheory costs what it does. That's why they have these things as incentives. I highly suggest you do it. You get to work with a highly motivated individual like myself who's going to carry you through it every step of the way. Now, another thing related to the time for drivers, and I've said this over and over again, and I'm going to continue to repeat it. When it comes to, I don't have the time, I have to run the miles. I get it. Number one, first and foremost, if you're driving for one of these Russians or an Igor who's got 2-3 E-logs and they're faking teams and doing all that, number one, you need to quit. And number two, if you're like, I have to work for this guy because I have to make the money, I hate to get a little philosophical, but you might want to think about moving on. to go inside either a different carrier or not driving a truck, because you can go work at a warehouse and probably make the same amount of money driving a forklift and working less hours. If you find yourself in a position where you have to drive for one of these criminals out there, you should probably reconsider your line of work. I'm sorry, but I'm not going to hinder myself from telling the truth on this show. Number one, you're hurting the trucking industry by driving for these losers who are driving down rates with what they're hauling freight for. We obviously heard from Interstate Avocado, this guy's running for less than $1 a mile, leaving the East Coast. So that's what you're going. You're hurting the industry, number one. Number two, you're hurting yourself because you're working yourself for the bone for a criminal who's not doing anything, not benefiting society, and he's certainly not benefiting you. So if you got to do that, and that's the reason why, because you got to use those bull hauler toothpicks and you got to run 6,000 miles in a week on your own, then look, you're sacrificing mind, body, self, and paycheck for something that in the end, in the long run, isn't worth it. It's a short-sighted kind of thing. Once again, you can quit driving for that Russian and go to any warehouse right now and probably make over $20 an hour. I see billboards for it in Indiana all the time. So think about that. Another thing about the time, if you got to run the miles, if that's it, if you're only taking your 10, doing this and that, if you're doing that, once again, if you're telling me in your 20s and 30s, you can do that. In your 20s and 30s, you can choose to run the miles, not go for walks, not put the right food in your body, keep drinking soda. You can do that. You will survive and probably feel fine. And you'll say, I feel fine into your 20s and 30s. And you're saying you're doing it for your family. You're doing it because they need, you're supporting them. They need your paycheck. I respect it. I honor that. But let's look at the backside. Let's talk about when you get to your 40s and 50s. When you get to your 40s and 50s, if you live that lifestyle and like you did in your 20s and 30s, and you totally ignore your health and wellness when it comes to your 40s and 50s, when your kids are more grown up in high school, getting ready to maybe go to school, or they have events they want you to go to, when you're in the twilight of your career, when you need to be making probably the most money, and when you are probably at the point in your career where you are making top dollar, if you've been trucking, you're not going to be able to, because you're going to have to come off the road to go to the doctor, to go to the hospital, possibly because you're sick. You're more at risk for an accident. That's when the chronic disease is going to start setting in. The high blood pressure, the diabetes, the heart disease. That stuff is going to start creeping up on you. And you can tell me I'm full of shit, or you could just look at the facts. At the end of the day, if you're saying you're doing this and you're living this lifestyle where you're just running and gunning and abusing your body with what you put in it and not giving yourself the right amount of movement, then what you're doing is you think you're telling me that. You think you're telling me that what you're actually doing is you're telling your family that. You ignoring your body, you not doing the right thing, you not being disciplined is a direct message to your family, to your loved ones, that you don't care, that you don't have the self-respect for yourself to keep yourself tip top in order to take care of them. Because that's the thing. At the end of the day, they don't care about your money, because push comes to shove. If you lose your CDL or something happens or you can't drive, you're going to find a way to make money. You're going to find a way to work. That's niche right there. That's niche philosophy. Man is the best hunter. When put without, if there was no bread, if you couldn't find bread tomorrow, if you couldn't find food tomorrow, you're going to find that food. Same thing with a job. When you burn the ships, when you jump out that plane like it's D-Day, you're going to do anything you can to win. But once again, if you don't start doing the right things, if you don't build those habits, you are indirectly telling your family, you don't care. You don't care. You don't have the self-respect. I need to run these miles. It will catch up to you. It's the hard truth, but that's the thing with the truth. It's hard to hear. It's hard to say, but that's the fact. Moving on from that, when it comes to something, this is something else, because it's not, if you can get past the time, if you can get past the some of those excuses of having to run the miles, at the end of the day, it's about being uncomfortable. Currently reading this book called The Comfort Crisis. This is what some people say. I'm in Minnesota. It's 10 degrees. I'm in Iowa. It's this temperature. I'm in Laredo. It's this temperature. Being uncomfortable. Here's the thing. When it comes to tracking your food, tracking your macros, it's uncomfortable. It's cumbersome. It takes a little bit of time. It takes a little bit of extra effort. It's annoying. It's also an excuse. To not do it, it's an excuse. It being too cold is an excuse. It being too hot, also an excuse. Once again, and I've said this 1,000 times, there's only one reason why. There's only one at the end of the day when it comes to wanting to be an elite version of yourself. There's only one reason. That's it. There's only one. And it's you. It's to be the best you. But I'll tell you what, Your stocking will fill up with excuses. It'll fill up to the brim. Excuses can fill you. If you look hard enough, if you can't find an excuse, look a little bit harder. You're going to start finding one. All those are excuses. Here's the thing. You don't have to really worry about being uncomfortable for that long. It's 20 degrees. You can still go for a half-hour walk. Layer up. I've gone for runs in Iowa in 20 degrees, 20, 25 degrees. I've been at a no-name truck stop in Minnesota that was mom and pop that closed at like 8. There was no shower. Guess what? It was I think I might have a video of it. Thermostat was like 10 degrees. I got the kettlebell out. I did 30 minutes, kettlebell swings, crunches, and some dumbbell bench press. I just got the body moving. That's it for 30 minutes. I did it. And then I walked around a little bit, made a phone call, hung around, then I went to sleep. That's the thing. It's only temporary discomfort. We don't have to live in permanent discomfort, but we do need to put ourselves through temporary discomfort. And here's the thing. I keep saying we're in a comfort crisis because we didn't get here by being comfortable. The human beings, I'm saying all of us as a species, we didn't get here by being comfortable all the time. We didn't always have heat, AC, grocery stores, XYZ, Uber Eats, this, and that. We didn't have that. We've only had simplicity for maybe about 100 years. For most of humans' existence, we've had to constantly be uncomfortable all the time. So we'll go back before Abraham, 6,000, 10,000 years. Where did you go if you were cold? Where did you go if you were too hot? Where did you go if you needed food? You had to be uncomfortable and you just had to live with it. And they just had to do it. And what was the result of all that uncomfort, all that discomfort? Of the generations and thousands of years humans have had to be uncomfortable, it's gotten us to today. So when you think about that, when you think about what human beings have accomplished from generations and millenniums of discomfort, you're living in the current result. We're living in some of the best times ever. Could you imagine? I mean, think about, what some of our grandparents think with how technology is. It's unfathomable. If you're somebody who's lived throughout the entire 20th century, see the invention of the car, to then going to the moon, to then all this other stuff, it's insane. But the thing is, with all this comfort, you see what the results are. The results are we have increased chronic disease. We have increased anxiety, depression, people's lack of purpose, all this stuff. It seems as though as we've solved all these problems of like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, as we've solved all those base levels of kind of what we need to survive, life's gotten harder for us. Life's gotten a little more difficult. Things piss us off. We're working jobs that don't have meaning. We get treated like shit. We don't treat each other the right way. Where's the camaraderie? All that stuff, something you hear a lot. So we've gotten more comfortable. And as things have gotten easier, things have seemingly almost progressively gotten worse on the personal level. The only way to thrive is by training yourself to be uncomfortable, putting yourself in that position. At this point in time, it's where I want to be. And I was thinking about this the other day, and I was saying it to somebody is I'd be remiss to say I don't miss being over the road because I want to be in Iowa where it's 20 degrees. Because a lot of what first has started as me needing to be healthy, now it's an ego thing. It eventually gets in your head so much you're like, I need to, and I think that's where Goggins is at this point. I feel like the guy won't take a break because now that's his brand and he needs to live it and breathe it every day, or else people will think he's a fraud. But that's where it is. It's almost an ego thing. I almost purposely want to suffer because not only will it continue to get me better, but it makes me fucking look good. You should want to feel that way. That's exactly how other people should want to feel. Temporary discomfort. Another thing, when it comes to running or walking and how humans got here, that has to do with endurance. The same thing with comfort. We didn't evolve as a species on this planet just by making spears and getting really good at throwing them or inventing bows and arrows. We got here. We're the top of the food chain because of endurance, because we're able to go the extra mile. See, humans we're on two legs for a reason, because we were able to walk fast for long periods of time to the point to where our prey would die or pass out of heat exhaustion and we would win. That's the thing. We go for the long haul. And you drivers out there, you go for the long haul every day. You already do the hard job. You can do harder things as well on top of it. Endurance. And I hate hearing people say the words, I can't, because they'll say, I can't walk, I can't run, I can't. And I understand that maybe you have some injuries or something that has happened. Well, you need to do what you can to fix that. You have to. Or else, once again, you're saying, I don't have enough self-respect to take care of it and live better for my family. But at the end of the day, when people say, I can't run or I can't do this, it pisses me off so much because that was me at 28 years old saying, I can't. I don't think I'll ever get back. I'll never be what I was in the Marine Corps. I'll never do that. I kept saying that until finally I just woke up one day and realized it was absolutely stupid to keep saying that. Think about hearing yourself saying, I can't. Imagine having a conversation with somebody saying, I can't do this. I can't run. Imagine how absolutely pathetic it sounds to hear it. And think about having that conversation with yourself. And I said it in a video the other day. Some people I wish I could go back and tell the younger me something. No, imagine going back to the younger me and having a conversation with them. Or imagine actually thinking about the future you. Imagine talking to yourself 5 years from now. What do you want to tell that guy 5 years from now? Do you want the guy 5 years from now to look back and say, I miss the good old days. I miss the good old days. What the fuck are you talking about? It doesn't make any sense. When it comes to this endurance thing, I mean it when I say it is in everyone's DNA. You think you can't run a marathon? It's in your fucking blood to do it. It's wired in your brain to be able to do that. It's in your DNA. It's how we got here as a species, was to be able to go and go and go and push harder and faster. Imagine if you didn't have the food, if you didn't have the grocery store, what would you do? Just give up? I can't. So you're just going to die. That's what you do. You just die. You let your family die? Absolutely not. Going into this new year, put yourself first. If you can train yourself to just do these small things, at the end of the day, they are very small things. Weighing out your food, going for a walk, drinking your water, maybe cutting back a little bit on alcohol. If you can do these small things, once you do these little small things and you start with just one goal, start with just the 10,000 steps, start with cutting out drinking your calories, drinking the soda, switch to diet. Do these one small things. You start to see the scale change. The fog is going to start to lift. And I've said this 1,000 times before too. As I've gotten healthier, the more and more I want to fight, the more and more I want to get involved with driver advocacy, the more and more, because the more energy I have, the more fog is removed, the more I want to learn, the more I want to talk, the more I want to have conversations. I want to talk to every single truck driver there is. I want to talk to as many brokers as I can. I want to talk to I just want to keep talking to people and keep fighting. As you continue to get better and better and better, that's exactly where you're going to go. Just picture your life. Picture your life if you make these small changes for 8 weeks. Where do you think you're going to be? Do you think if you at least change one thing, if you just committed to 10,000 steps a day for the next 8 weeks, do you think you'll be worse than you are now? If that answer is yes, then we need to have a conversation, because it's wildly untrue and it's willful ignorance. Once again, it is in your DNA to be this elite. We're on top of the food chain. We went to the fucking moon. We have tanks. We have fucking big trucks that can haul this shit up mountains and go down Donner's Pass. We can do all these things because it's in our fucking brains. It's wired in your DNA. It runs through your blood every single day. It's in there. It lives inside you. It's why you're here. It's why God created you. You have to understand, even if whether you're a believer or not, it's why we were created. We're here for a reason. And that reason isn't to become sick and unhealthy and nearly dead. Our reason is to serve others, take care of our families, raise them, make the world a better place. Do you think by being the worst version of yourself, you're making the world any better at all? Absolutely not. This year, make yourself number one. I go back to the beginning of this episode. Anybody out there telling you, you can't, it's impossible, blah, 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 cut them off. You don't need to hang out with them anymore. They're irrelevant. They're holding you back and they're projecting their own negative bullshit. Ignore them. Make yourself number one. You have to. And I made a video on this at the end of the day. When you do that, because when you get yourself absolutely fucking ripped, shredded in the best shape of your life, and you're posting on social media about cutting your mile time and doing this and doing that and doing the hard things, people see that. That's what people see. People are always going to see the things you do. And so if it comes to your employer, your job, what you're doing in the professional world, if they see you walk through the door at that interview and they see somebody who's wearing a fitted suit, tailored up, taking care of themselves, absolutely ripped out of their minds, they're automatically going to think when you walk through the door, this guy respects himself. This guy has discipline. They already have a predisposition on who you are as a person walking in that door, as opposed to your experience isn't going to matter. They want to know about you at that point. They want to know what you do to keep yourself so fit. They're going to be interested because they're going to say, I want this guy on my team. That's what the world's going to see. How do you want the world to see you? Do you want the world to see you as somebody who doesn't have self-respect, who puts himself last? No, because that's not what the world wants. The world has enough negativity going on. We need to switch that. We need to change the narrative. This year, make yourself number one. The tools are right out there, giving them right to you. First form app is $12.99 a month. Going to OrangeTheory, whether it's not, here's the thing. Your OrangeTheory membership pays for itself as soon as you do things like eat out less, drink a little bit less alcohol. Once you eliminate that from your budget and from your financial diet, when you do that, there you go. You paid for your access into the arena that's going to automatically make you into a machine. The tools are right there. All you need to do is put your best foot forward and follow them. If you can follow these things, if you can do these small things, you will become absolutely elite, because that's what we need. That's what this world needs. Everybody out there, if you look around, there's this, nobody wants to get after it. Nobody wants to go full steam ahead. Nobody's willing to pick up the flag. Nobody wants to do it. So when you do it, you're going to be the one to outshine everybody else. When you show it, when you show up, when you start learning yourself to having that discipline, that's what the world needs. The world doesn't need a bunch of do-nothing clowns who sit down and just want to coast through life. Nobody wants that. We're at F3, and the former CEO of XPO was saying this. He was talking about how there are trillions of dollars that exist in this world. And there's so many people who want to invest in businesses and in people and in highly motivated individuals to do something. But the thing is, there's no people who just want to share their ideas or share what they want to do. They're holding back. They're holding themselves back. Here's the thing. As you start to not hold yourself back and you go out and you make yourself first, your ideas, everything's going to flourish. The best possible version of you coming out is the biggest thing you can do for the world to make the world an absolutely better place. The tools are right here. First form app's right here. If you could just follow that checklist, track your food, get your 10,000 steps in a day, drink your water, you're going to win. If you can go to OrangeTheory, 8 weeks. 8 weeks is a short amount of time. I challenge all of you, whether you want the app or not, 8 weeks. Give yourself 8 weeks and then reassess from there. And once again, this is about building habits. At this point, when it comes to, I don't even track all the time because I eat the same stuff now. I enjoy it. By the way, once you count your macros, you figure out all the little nooks and crannies about how to make food you like. And guess what? Mustard and hot sauce makes everything better. Essentially has no calories. You figure it out. You game the game. You strategize. You get smart about it. Once you build those tools up, there you go. You set yourself up. And once you get yourself to where you want to be or see how far you can go, at that point, you don't need to worry about holidays coming up. You don't need to worry about July 4th or going out drinking, because you can have fun for a day or two, and then you just get right back to it because that's the habit you built for yourself. Now, I've been going along for a minute. I want to appreciate everybody for tuning in live. I want to give a shout out to Robert Peterson over there. Happy hump day. Happy New Year to you too. My boy Dad at 2, Roadside Towing Company up in Massachusetts. He said, wait till you hit 50. I feel like you're directly talking to me. No, I'm not directly talking to you. I'm just talking to anybody who thinks that. That's another thing though. If you are 50, if you are in your 40s and you think it's too late, it's not. It's harder, but it's not. It is never too late. That's another thing you need to realize. It is never too late to become the best version of you. I understand it's January 3rd. You're like, I already screwed up. I can't do it. I can't make it. Wrong. Tomorrow's New Year's Day again. Tomorrow's day one, week one. You just go from there. Just start. Just start and don't stop. You're going to have a day where you slip up. Doesn't matter. Just wake up the next day and get right back to it. We defeat ourselves over and over. This is what our minds have done. This is what the comfort crisis has done. It's made us defeatist is the word. It's made us, rescind and fall back. I messed up. I guess I failed. So I guess I'm just stuck this way. It's bullshit. That's exactly what the establishment and these people want you to think. I say this all the time. Our enemies The people I keep talking about on the show, the crime syndicates, even them, they want you to stay fat, sick, dumb, dependent, because that's the thing. That's the reason why some of these Russians are able to get some of these drivers. They look for the destitute, the downtrodden, the people who think they have no way out or are lost and stuff like that. But I guarantee if you keep yourself sharp, you keep yourself the tip of the sword, you're not going to fall for these clowns. You're going to fucking take them on. You're going to fight them. You're going to take them out of this motherfucker. Your business is going to grow. You're going to thrive. When you start taking care of these little things, the big things that come your way, you have no idea. And the more and more you take care of yourself, the more and more you have to give. And the more you give, the more you're going to start feeling absolutely unfucking stoppable. So this year, put yourself first. Take the negativity, ignore it. At the end of the day, nobody fucking cares. These people who are negative and who are talking shit and are saying, oh, you can't and you that, when they go home, they're not even thinking about it. Once again, it's just a negative projection. It's them telling you what they can't do or what they don't have the fucking balls to do because they're not going to do it themselves. But when they go home, they're not even thinking about you. They're not thinking about you. They're not thinking about what's going on because they're too focused on whatever garbage excuse they have. So just go ignore it. The imposter syndrome, throw it the fuck out. Nobody gives a shit. You think it's cringe? I don't care. I'll tell you what, when I left the gym this afternoon, the last thing I wanted to do was record a podcast. I got in the car, threw in the Zyn. My body's beat, got over 20,000 steps today, went to the gym at 6:15, worked out. I tracked my macros. I meal prep. I'm fucking gassed. All right. I'm a little tired myself. But you know what? Just like dragging your feet into the gym, I said, I have my computer with me on me all day. I brought it right upstairs. I scheduled the live. I cracked my knuckles. I said, I'm just going to fucking send it. So when it comes to anything you want to do, just fucking go. And if it sucks, it sucks. It doesn't matter. Then let it suck and then do another one. You know, I don't care if this podcast sucks, but if one person can take one thing out of this, then that's all that matters. That's all that matters at the end of the day. But look, I've been ripping. I can't believe I've even been talking this long. We're almost nearing on 50 minutes. So once again, thank you guys for tuning in. I hope this gave you the drive. I just want to leave you with this. Again, you're born with it. It's in your DNA. And I heard this quote, and it's an old line, but you know, I watched it yesterday on TV. It's that the mercenary will always defeat the draftee. So the guy who's paid to do it, he's incentivized to go do it. But the volunteer can kill them both. So when you volunteer, when you stick that hand up, you say, I'm going to commit, you can defeat anybody. Whether the guy who's incentivized to pay, criminals, or the draftees, the guys who are forced to do it, you know, beyond their reasonable measure. Go out there, be the volunteer. Be the guy who puts himself first. Be the guy who puts himself first, gives himself that self-respect to take care of their family, put their best foot forward. And when you do it, you're going to make the world a better place. That's what we're meant here to do. If you think you're irrelevant, you're not. If you think you can't, you can. If you don't think, and maybe you're not going to be the old you. You want to get back to that high school weight. You want to get back to the old you. Forget the old you. Because the old you is a hell of a lot dumber, hell of a lot more ignorant than you are now. Become the new you. Become the 2.0 version of yourself. Become that guy. Become better than the fucking old you. Nobody wants the old you. The old you is a figment of yours and other people's imaginations. Dead, gone. You're never going to get them back. The old you's just as dead as George Washington. It doesn't matter anymore. This year, make yourself first. It's a new year. It can be a new you. You have to want it. You have to go get it. You just have to be willing to do just a few hard things. And if you'd like, I'm here with you every single step of the way. I've said it time and time again. I'm here on the First Form app. My DMs are wide open. My phone, like you can text me at any time. I'm going to give you any ounce of advice when it comes to what you should maybe eat at the truck stop if you can't cook, what you can do here, how you can make a change, why you can do this, X, Y, Z. This is what I'm here for. This is what I want to do. I don't make any money doing it. I just want to do it because I want this world to be better, because I want this world to be full of fucking motherfuckers who are ready to take on people like the FMCSA, people at the ATA, people like these crime syndicates. We're not going to do it if we're all just pathetic, sitting around feeling sorry for ourselves. It's just the truth. But when you step up, when you show up, when you become elite, then we're able to take on the enemy. Because that's the thing. The establishment, the enemy's out there. They know they've been rolling on us for years. They've been rolling on us since deregulation. They've been rolling on over through, and it's by design. They want it. There's a reason why the food's expensive at the truck stops. There's a reason why it's all unhealthy garbage, fucking, run down with whatever. There's a reason why soda's free on the Loves app. There's reasons why. It's because they want you to lose. They want you to fail. Take that on your shoulder. Take that on your back. Know that. They want you to lose. And if they want you to lose, what are you going to do? Let them win. If that's what you want, then fine. Turn off this podcast. Never listen to a word I have to say again. But if you're listening and you don't want them to win and you want to win, I want to make you win, because I don't win unless everybody else around me is winning. If I'm just winning and I'm alone, then what the fuck am I? What am I doing? I don't win unless other people around me are winning. I want everybody to do. And that's what I'm trying to do. And that's what the future is going to hold. That's what's coming in the new year on my end, is I'm just going to keep doing whatever the fuck it is I can to get anybody who listens to this, watch this, to be a winner. Because if you're a winner, that means we're all winning. Because that's exactly how this story unfolds. That's where we need to go. That's what the future has in store. A lot of stuff coming down my end. This show's never going to stop. The interviews aren't going to stop. The health coaching's not going to stop. The fitness ain't going to, nothing. I can't stop. This train doesn't stop. Once again, I'll leave you with this. Lombard Trucking was incorporated in 1923. Nikki and John Lombard didn't start Lombard Trucking for just themselves. They wanted to do it to build a business in their community in Waterbury, to make Waterbury, Connecticut better, make Connecticut better, make the Northeast better. That's why they got into business. That's why they did it. They didn't do them for themselves. They didn't come here with an education. They didn't come here with riches. Came here with, as far as I know, from what I was told by my grandfather, he came here with 20 bucks in his pocket off the boat. That's what he had. So clearly they didn't come from any sort of wealth. They didn't come from any sort of knowledge. These people were living in some dump suburb, Caserta, outside of Naples. They didn't have shit. So when they started the business, yeah, I'm sure they wanted to be successful. But they also probably wanted those around them to win, and the other Italians in the city and people in the city to win. So they made that business to win, and that's what they did. And over the course of, while they were in business until 1984, that's what they did for their drivers. They gave them good jobs. These guys had pensions. These guys stayed their careers for 30 years. They went home every day, and that's what they wanted to do. This is what my grandmother told me. She said that everybody at Lombard, they loved the drivers. They cared so much about them. They just wanted the drivers to be happy. They always wanted to be happy, to the point of where they would take it personal. That's what they felt. So that's what Lombard was, the 1.0 Lombard was. Now, I'm not a motor carrier, and I don't have the money or the means to become a motor carrier, especially given this market. But what I do have is I have the same name and the same drive that they have to make sure that everybody around me, especially drivers, especially people in this industry, can also be winners. That's what I want to do. I want to bring that Lombard, that mentality deep into the 21st century and make a change and make a rattle and make everybody around here winners. Make everybody around here the best people they could be, the best Americans they can be, the best participants in society they could be for this entire planet. That's what I want to do. Now, you can either take that with a grain of salt. You can say I'm full of shit. I don't care. Anybody out here who thinks I'm full of shit, cool. Good for you. What are you doing? Are you in the arena too? Did you get your 10,000 steps a day? If not, fuck off. That's all I have to say. I don't need to prove myself anymore to anybody. I don't need any sort of validation. I'm past that. Even if I could keep going on this alone. I don't care. But that's the Lombard brand moving forward. That's what I wanted to start it as. And that's what it's going to be moving forward. So you want to jump on this wagon? Jump on. Hop in the First Form app. Let's go. You want to join Orange Theory? Come on. Let's go. Come in the arena. You want to talk? You need a little one-on-one? Anything. I'm out here for you guys. Always. 100%. But that's it. Kind of out of breath. I appreciate everybody who tuned in live, chiming in. Hopefully you took something a little bit away from this, got a little bit of knowledge. Get yourself uncomfortable. Get ready to get comfortable being uncomfortable. It's the only way we're going to win. Our enemies are making us uncomfortable. Let's thrive in it. Let's win. Let's move forward. That's all I got for you guys. Got a lot of good episodes coming up. Little tune in. I have contacted, just a little looking forward. This is going to be great content, especially as we talk about fitness. I'm trying to schedule an interview with a flight attendant who runs an Instagram page based on how she keeps herself healthy and fit in a high demand job. I'd compare a flight attendant to a truck driver to an extent, but they have to deal with more people and probably has its own challenges, but a demanding schedule, away from home a lot. And she's done very well, taking care of herself, eating healthy, still working out. So I'm looking forward to having that interview. Definitely one anybody out here with a high demand job would want to check out. I've got another driver who I found on Instagram. He's been trucking for 7 years, best shape of his life. He'll be coming on the show later this week. I believe we're doing it. So we're lining up some interviews. We're really going to be honing in on this health and fitness thing, because you can't beat this drum enough, because the problem is not solved. If tomorrow you snap my fingers and the chronic disease and the obesity rates in trucking were cut in half, I'd probably stop talking about it for a little while. But for right now, it's a problem that needs to get talking about. The only way to keep solving it, the only way we got Vivek Ramaswamy to Iowa 80 is because we kept talking. The only way that we've been able to contact Congressman Josh Burkeen in Oklahoma is because we kept talking. That's what we're doing at CDLDU. So the only thing we can do is keep talking, keep sharing the positivity, keep sharing the message. So if you guys could share the show, if you gained one bit of knowledge and one bit of motivation. But other than that, stay tuned. 2024 is going to be awesome. Control what we can control. The other stuff going on in the world, I get it. People have their opinions. Israel, Hamas, Ukraine, Russia, et cetera, et cetera. You can have your opinions, but at the end of the day, those are distractions. They do. They're occupying your mind. They're keeping you off focus. They're keeping you off tilt from wanting to focus on maybe your business or your content or your health. It's taking your mind off of reality. Reality is exactly what's in front of your face right now. Your reality is your community. Your reality is your family. It's everything in your vicinity. You're not going to stop the war in Palestine, Israel, wherever. You're not going to stop the war in Ukraine or Russia. You're not. Your vote in November certainly ain't going to stop it either. And let's not even go there. But you know what you can do? You could become the best version of you. Bring that out there. Present that to the world. That's going to make your community better. Your community gets better. Your state gets better. Your state gets better. The country gets better. We got to solve this from the ground up. Starts with you. So let's get to it. But with that, guys, we're going to wrap this one up. Episode 107. Thank you all for coming out. Hope to catch you on the next one. But with that, we're back to the bench. Take care.